here today for Lawnfawn and welcome back to the channel. Today I have a set of 3 cards to share with you all, and I'm going to be using the brand new Really High 5 stamp set. I'm going to use the little fox and the bear images, as well as the balloons and 3 of the sentiments. And I'm also going to pull in butterfly kisses as well, just for the clouds, since I thought they matched really nicely. Along with the 2 stamp sets, I'm going to be using a ton of different colours of cardstock. So I've got some rainforest, dolphin, number 2 pencil, apricot, pencil eraser and sage, and I'm going to use all of these to create my different backgrounds with. So I went ahead and cut out a bunch of different strips out of each of the colours, just in different widths, and I set them off to the side. I also went ahead and created 3 white card bases just from some Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock. I cut those to 4 inches wide by 11 inches tall and scored them at 5.5. Once those were all cut, I went ahead and added adhesive to the fronts of the panels. So I just used some lawnfawn tape adhesive, and I'm just going around the perimeter of the card with the adhesive first, and then filling in the center just with a few more strips, and that should be more than enough adhesive to hold down all of the strips. And then once I've done that for all 3 card bases, I'm just going to go ahead and start adhering down my strips. So I removed all of the backers off one of the panels first, and then I'm going to start on my background. So I did 3 different types. I did a diagonal, horizontal and vertical striped background. So I'm starting on the diagonal striped one first. So I just picked up all of the different colours of cardstock and started to stick them down onto the card base, just making sure to use all 6 colours randomly, so no 2 colours were the same next to each other. And I also went ahead and used different sized strips as well, because I wanted there to be quite a bit of variation in the sizes. I wanted there to be like more thicker and skinnier strips in there as well, and so I just wanted to make sure it looked as random as possible. So I just went ahead and filled the entire background of this card first, and then I'm going to go ahead and use a trimmer to cut off the excess. The first cut can be a little bit tricky because obviously you don't have a flat edge to cut across yet, but I just lined it up in my trimmer on the edge of the blade, and that made it easy for the first cut. And then I just went ahead and went around and butted up the side of the card against the edge of the trimmer and cut away the excess. Using a trimmer is so much easier because you get a nice clean cut through the thick cardstock, and sometimes scissors can make it a little bit more tricky as there's like too much to cut through and you may not get it as straight as you would with a trimmer. I also think a guillotine trimmer works best for this as well, just because you're just slicing straight down instead of trying to slice through. So I just used my Tim Holtz trimmer for that one, and this is how the background is looking when it's all completed. I really like how it turned out, and I really love this color scheme as well. I got it off Pinterest, super pretty and different. So there are all the 3 backgrounds all completed, and now it's time to work on the images. So I just went ahead and stamped out a ton of the images from both the Really High 5 and Butterfly Kisses stamp set. So as I mentioned before, I'm just going to use the bear and the fox. So I'm going to use the fox on one card, the bear on the other, and then both of them on one of them together. So I stamped out 4 of those. I then just stamped out a bunch of balloons and the strings and also the clouds. And then I decided to colour them in with Copic markers. So since the backgrounds of the card were so colourful, I really wanted to keep the colouring super simple and to a minimum and not really add in any more additional colours. So I decided to just use some light grey markers to colour in these images with, and I really like the way that turned out because it doesn't clash with the background and it really just lets that colour scheme shine through. So I used 2 different combinations of warm grey markers. For the first, I'm using W4, W3, W2 and W1, and this is the darker of the 2 combos, and so this is going to be used for the main bodies of the bears and the foxes, as well as the balloons, and then I'm going to have the lighter ones be like the fox's face, tummy, and the top of the tail. And I'm also going to be colouring in the clouds with the lighter colours as well. And I just used W2, W1, W0 and W00 for those sections, and then I just finished off with some pink. So I used that for the cheeks and the insides of the ears, and I used R30 and R000 for that. Once I went ahead and coloured all of those in, I cut them all out and set all of the images into place, and now it's time to arrange how they're going to look on my cards. So I'm going to be using one of the critters and a couple of the clouds, 2 of the strings and 2 of the balloons per card. And then for the final card, that's when I'm going to use both critters and one more balloon and one more string as well. So this is how these are going to look. I'm just arranging them into place. So I've got 2 of the clouds and the balloons up in the top, and have a couple of the strings hanging down so the fox can hold one of them. It's going to look really cute. So this one's going to be left side focused, then I'm going to have one that's right side focused and one that's in the middle. So these are how they're all going to look when they're all adhered down together. I think they look really, really nice, and I really love how they're all coloured in with a really subtle grey because it allows the background to pop. So I just went ahead and added foam tape onto each of the backs of the images and adhered them all down into place as they were before. And now it's time to work on the sentiments. So I decided to just go super duper simple for the sentiments. I used some Storm Cloud cardstock, which is just this darker grey cardstock, and I decided to white heat emboss 3 of the sentiments onto a strip of it. So I just used the It's Your Birthday, Have an Uplifting Day, and You're Awesome sentiments, and I just wanted there to be all different sentiments so you can use all 3 of these cards for different occasions. So I'm just going to stamp them all in a row here, leaving a gap in between them all, and then I'm going to use some white embossing powder and white heat emboss them off camera. I then just went ahead and cut them down into different sizes and cut off one of the edges with a little bit of an angle. I added foam tape onto the backs and just tucked them under each of the critters. For the one that has the center design, I just kind of adhered it in the center, just overlapping a couple of the images, and I think that turned out really nicely. So I was also going to add these little yay speech bubbles that I made, but I didn't really like how they looked, and I didn't really feel like they fit in with the design, and I think that these sentiments were enough anyways. So that finishes up my cards for today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. These backgrounds are a really good way to use a bunch of scraps that you've had in your stash for a while, which I think is really fun. And also it's a really great way to try out lots of different color schemes as well, and then just have some really simple colored images on top. It makes for some really cute cards, and I really love how cute this is as a set as well. So that finishes up my cards. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. All of the supplies will be listed down below and linked over at the blog, and I will catch you all next time. Thanks so much for stopping by today.